Watch your step. Watch your step.
Come on in. So the sun isn't too glaring today, but the minty green color the room was painted was actually intended to cut down on glare, make it a little easier to see in here. And like we say, because the whole point of the lightship was really to never go anywhere, they wouldn't have used this wheelhouse all that often. They would go back to shore about two or three times a year just for like maintenance and repairs and stuff, but the rest of the time you just stay in one spot. They could also use this in nasty weather as sort of like a lookout, because the windows, these portholes are really rather large, so you really have really pretty good visibility, considering. But you can see it's all very mechanical, so you've got the rope wrapping around the drum, goes down through the pulley, would have gone at an opening in the side of the cabin, and run exposed down the top of the deck to the back where it's connected to the rudder. And I think kind of weird to have all this stuff all exposed like this, but it means if something were to go terribly wrong, it would be real easy to get at it to repair it on the spot, right? Again, sort of as a backup. One slight improvement over Wave Retreat, for instance, now, to kind of keep your crew more comfortable. Now we have steam heat. This is actually a radiator. And the engine was originally a steam engine also. It's now diesel. We'll talk about that when we get down to the engine room. But that's all being controlled from down there in the engine room. You got three guys that are called firemen, not for putting out fires, but for keeping the fires going. And they're basically shoveling coal in the furnace all day and night, year round. And all the controls for the engine are all down in the engine room as well. So you really don't see any controls for the engine up here at all. But obviously the helmsman has to let them know what he wants the engine to be doing. So first of all, if you have specific instructions, you can talk into the mouthpiece, and the sound of your voice will go down to the windlass room or the engine room, both of which you'll see later. And then to hear what they're saying in response, you can hear them over the horn. Yes, sir, Captain. But it's often very, very noisy down there, especially if the engine is actually running at the time. So then you've got a system of these levers would be connected to a bell down below. So you have very simple signals, ding, 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 and that would sort of like give them indication what you want the engine to do. And then one last thing here is this here is called the binnacle, and the binnacle is what holds the compass. So you've got the compass in there, and obviously operates by magnetism. But the problem with this is that the hull of the ship is made out of steel, which has a magnetic field to it that completely messes up your compass readings. So these here are called compensator balls because they compensate for the magnetism of the ship itself, and you can kind of like bolt and unbolt them, slide them back and forth, and get more accurate compass readings, one hopes. Like if you're at shore and you know where true north is exactly, you can tune it. This is green for starboard and red for port, which I've heard is because port wine is red, and I'm sure that's not true, but anyway, remember. But it's really good if you have a ship way, way off in the distance. We'll always have a green light on one side and a red light on the other, so you'll know what direction that ship is going, first of all. But also for navigation, if you're out in another ship approaching this one, like on an intersection on a roadway, if you're coming from this direction, you have a green light, so you have the right of way, and this ship has to yield for you. Or if you're coming from this direction, you have the red light, so you have to stop, and this ship has the right of way. This is how it's all done out on the rivers. Anyway, way back in very, very ancient times, before ships had rudders to steer them on the back, instead you would steer the ship using a steering board, which is sort of like a big long paddle that would stick off the ship on one side, like so. And because you had your steering board, that is your starboard, on that side, you couldn't pull into port on that side because you're blocked. So you could only pull into port on the other side, so starboard, port. And it's sort of like stage right, stage left. So it doesn't matter what direction you're looking at the ship or what direction the ship is facing. Starboard and port are always in the same place, no confusion. So there it is. All right, so let's head downstairs, take a look at the crew quarters. I'll lead the way, and this next staircase is really steep, so much safer to take it like a ladder, facing the stairs like so. I will demonstrate. Head on down. Watch your head on this here. So backwards.
I think I'm gonna have to go through the other way because my head can't fit because I'm tall. My head can't fit down there.
so here are the crew quarters. The crew would have been 14 people. 4 of those are officers. They're fancy. They sleep at the back. The rest of them just regular crew members. 10 left over. And not all of them would be on board all at once. So the job was for 3 weeks on every month and 1 week off, which made it a really good job actually for like retired Navy sailors and stuff. You know, they didn't want to be thousands of miles out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean anymore. Maybe they had families who lived in New York, so there's a whole week every month they could go back and spend with their families. Another guy said, yeah, and then there was another 3 weeks when they didn't have to be with their families. That's how you feel. Anyway, but I've been told it was really a very boring job. They say it was like long, long stretches of complete